Welcome again to another thrilling episode of the Inalienable Right Guys. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they're endowed with
The thing.
the thing. All of us have certain inalienable rights, or unalienable rights. But me and Mark wanted to talk a little today about Trump and his fate. I was telling him when Trump was running earlier in the primaries before he was the president, and someone asked him about his faith in God, and did he ever ask God to forgive him for anything? And this is when he kind of turned me off early, when I was on Ted Cruz bandwagon anyway. But he had said that he didn't feel like he needed to ask God for forgiveness or nothing, and that kind of rubbed me wrong. But I was thinking about this today. I was telling Mark that on the way up here, I got to thinking that Trump has made a great transformation because of the weight of the people that he now serves, that expect great things from him, and that now have shown him that, you know, when he was a jet-setting billionaire and making money and doing things, just about anything he wanted to, you know, conquering the world, if you will, in that financial realm. He probably felt that way. He probably felt that he was invincible and indomitable, if you will. But now, as he see, and he went through some suffering, because we ain't never seen no one get persecuted like this man. I mean, $45 million searching him from the rooter to the tutor. And that man, Trump said just recently, last week, he said, I'm probably the cleanest man on the planet. He said,
I don't say, yeah, they investigated for everything.
Everything. And and he said they took it from D.C. and sent it to New York, so because D.C. had enough of trying to search him out. But again, when it comes to, I believe this, and I saw it at the Spears rally where people were saying, "We love you." They was using the love word. You don't see that in politics, love. And I think this transformed him. I think God has showed him, has took him on a mountain and showed this man that love is what transfers things, makes a great transformation. And I think Trump has went through something, and for the betterment, if you ask me, I think he's going to be a better person behind it.
Yeah, I think so too. We mentioned before, and for those that don't know, we go to church together. Been going to church together for 20 years. We had a visitor this weekend. We were talking to him about all this stuff. And that was one of the things that he stressed that he really wishes Trump would talk more about, is his faith. I know Biden talks about being, devout Catholic, and then he turns around and says something about the palmists. Which doesn't make any,
Right.
Like, yeah, if you're devout Catholic, you probably know how to say psalmist. But anyway, but it was one of the things that I think Trump, I really do think that when he sees all this stuff going on, you've had all these prayer vigils, you've had all these people praying for him, and as Christians we should be praying for. We should be praying for our government. When we get together on Sunday, we pray for everybody in the government. We pray for our president. We prayed for Barack Obama when he was president. Prayed for George Bush when he was president. It doesn't matter which one's in there and what party it is. We still should be praying for those in leadership. Those in authority over us. And we should be praying. Matter of fact, before this visitor left, he sat down and asked me to pray for him, to say a prayer for that exact thing, to pray for the leadership of this country, that we would raise up godly men to lead over us, and that, they would understand that there's a higher authority than them. And I'm not sure how far he's come, but I feel like like Elmo was saying, that Trump has seen a lot of this stuff. You can find, pictures of some of these things where different groups of people, different groups of pastors and stuff have prayed over him, prayed with him, in the White House and when he's been out on these rallies and stuff. So
Yeah.
I really do think it's caused a change. And I know the left is never going to. Well, first of all, they don't care about it. We make fun of this thing, the creator versus the thing, to make fun of Joe Biden and his gaffes. But they try to get rid of the creator. They try to get God out of their platform and all that stuff. They believe in all this secular humanism and whatnot. But I really feel like that he has to see all the stuff that's going on and how many people have been praying for him and praying that he continues to do the things that are allowing us to have our freedoms. And that's one of the things. Like, here we are, the inalienable right guys, our freedom to practice our faith.
Right, and suffering.
Big thing.
I think the suffering, even when he got COVID, and then you looked at his son, Don Jr., getting COVID, and a lot of people, I think even his wife and his younger son, and the suffering produces something in a man. And when I was young and arrogant, chest out, young man, I used to always, someone told me, said, you ain't gonna be much better until you do a little suffering. And once I start suffering, I got perspective. And I think that's what he is, as president, that he got a better perspective. Because, we are told to be doers as well as hearers. So when I think about the policies, you got these people like Mark said, Biden and their secularism and the likes, when they are promoting these type of abortion, LGBTQ type agendas, toxic masculinity, and all these agendas to knock the family off its perch, if you will, or to reconstruct something that's godly. And yet they support all this. When he was talking about Biden and the Palmer's quote, and I heard that one of his Catholic people said he can't even take communion with them because of their support of this abortion issue. And now when I look at Trump again, like I say, his actions sure stand out to us on the conservative and inalienable right guys. It sure works for us. And then when people wonder, well, why you support this orange man, or why I was telling a young nephew of mine that against Trump and hate him like he's satanic or something. And he was saying, he said, yeah, but he's a white man and he's a racist. I said, well, let me ask you something. Ain't nobody in here but us. What color is Biden? Yeah, but he's not racist. He's white, but he's not. You cannot justify your perversion. The point is, you can't look at skin color and keep trying to judge someone's heart, or judge someone. You got to look at the action. And I've seen a transformation. I'm telling you, the suffering that Trump has done, and not only that, not taking the salary. He said at his own mouth, he lost between $5 and $10 to $15 billion since he's been a president. He is taking a hit like nobody else, and that's what produces a better person, an individual. Trump gonna come out of this one way, win, lose, or draw. He gonna come out of here shining like he should be on Mount Rushmore for us. I'm just saying. But I say that I mean that, but I mean that in all sincerity because he 3 Supreme Court justices. Come on, man. I mean, this is gonna affect generations. The policies that he established. Religious freedom. He's doing. If he's not talking it like you were saying the guy that been
and that's what he said. He said he wish he talked it more.
I'm saying if he's not talking it,
he's doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's great. But he just wish he'd talk about it more. And I don't know why he doesn't. And maybe he doesn't feel. I know he's a very confident person, but. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't feel like
What was that one incident they say he said 2 Corinthians?
Yeah, and that was
early.
That was early on. Because my wife said something about that. It kind of threw her for a loop too. Because she said both of those things, which you mentioned earlier about him saying he didn't, need to ask for forgiveness, but also the 2 Corinthians thing that people said something about. So I mean, yeah, but it may, a lot of it may be that he knows he's going to get drilled in the media for all that. So I don't know. I can hardly see where he would be afraid to say anything, because he ain't afraid to say anything about anything else.
I saw him pack a Bible in public.
Yeah, exactly.
That time when he walked over from the
right.
I think it was Oregon or somewhere, and he got just lambasted for that.
Yeah.
But just holding a Bible.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's maybe he he thinks it's going to infringe on separation of church and state,
and and which is another total BS thing that that people throw in there. Because we had that discussion this weekend too when we were discussing all this stuff. That it's only for the federal government not to put in a state religion or say this religion is the one you've got to go by. But it doesn't stop anybody. It doesn't stop the president from stopping and saying a prayer, in the middle of anything. It doesn't.
Some of the most religious.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. You can do and there's groups out there. What is it? The Freedom from Religion Foundation and stuff like that. That want to try to put lawsuits in place for all these things, but most of the time they lose because of that. Because there's nothing stopping people from practicing their faith while they're in some situation involving the government. I mean, because that's their right to practice their faith. And if they want to say a prayer before something, that's up to them. But it's just the idea that idea of separation of church and state is that the government can't set up.
That's what that means.
That's what that means.
Exactly.
But so many people want to take. Well, then they can't practice any kind of religion within the government.
Another big fallacy is what I hear when they say. I hear it a lot, especially in the black community. They say, when the schools went to politics, when they took religion out of school. Well, in essence, religion wasn't really in school. When they took God out of school. No, what they fail to realize is when the Democrat policies took God at the home. See, everything starts at the house. And when he took God at the home, in essence, breaking up the nuclear family, and in essence, sending kids to school without a father figure, without an authority figure, without any reverence for God. Well, the school was just the beneficiary of some bad, raising or some bad homeschooling or whatever you want to call it. That schools tried to become the parent, and again, but that's what they want to believe. But the trick is Satan is so tricky with it that he can mix the two up, just like you have to explain that between church and religion. They'll use that. I go through all that, not knowing that the government cannot establish a religion.
Right.
We're not a theocracy. We're a constitutional republic. And so, again, when the gentleman that visited us wanted us to, and he's making a good point. So we're not that. Maybe Trump should talk more about his faith.
Although wow, there was something I did see the other day. It was an interview that Trump did. Might have been one with Mark Levin, but he did talk a little bit about fatherless homes and that kind of stuff. So he does some of it, but I think like this guy said, if he did more of it, talking about people's faith and talking about these type of problems that the nuclear family in this country is facing, and churches support the nuclear family.
Exactly.
That's part of it too. If we can try to build up the nuclear family, that's part of it. Building our faith, sharing our faith, and that's what he was trying to say, is that if Trump would share his faith, that would help.
Yeah, and really, this last election, I believe that the evangelicals and the church in general, more people probably came in droves to vote for Donald Trump than in 2016. They got at the votes. Right. They got at the votes, and so it's a lot of us that understand that secularism and the attacks that we have to endure daily. That's a viable battle, but I still say, from what I've seen from this president, is that I have seen him change in humility. You know, it's things that you can see in individuals. You know,
right.
The humble. I've always said I've never met or seen a billionaire or a millionaire, for all that matter, that I can relate to. I feel like I can relate to him. I feel like if he walked in this room or we saw him, we could have a conversation like.
Oh yeah, just like we're doing now. Mm-hmm. You know, I think you're right. I think if he walked in the room and sat down we could sit here and talk about what's going on, mm-hmm. and what we believe and all this kind of stuff, and he'd be just right along with us. Exactly. You know, like we'd known him for life. You know, you're right.
Exactly. You know, so again, if that, for some out there that believe that he should be talking more about his faith, or showing it, or wearing it on his sleeves, or they feel that what the fight we up against is going to take a lot more of what he's doing, that leadership, and that, in my estimation, that estimate and the policy changes to give us the ones that's that's not in the government, the ones that are trying to live a quiet and peaceful and decent life here in America, right. To give us the opportunity. You know, when Barack Obama was in office, he pretty much shut out Christian coming to the White House, and started blocking a lot of, in his policies, blocking a lot of Christian. Remember, what was that? The Little Sisters of the Poor, you know, and Hobby Lobby and all them. He was attacking these people, that's religious peoples, and the likes. And
well, Trump, he recently did that with the Hispanics. He was talking about the Hispanics, like the ones, the Cuban Americans down in Florida, mm-hmm. and talking about them voting, you know, right. because they vote on faith issues like abortion.
Yeah, well, and then talking about we cling to our guns and our religion, you know, and all Trump is saying, let the Constitution be the Constitution. Let the Second Amendment be the Second Amendment. You know, let freedom reign in a lot of ways is what he's saying, sort of what Martin Luther King would say. And there's no better opportunity. I look at the guy and say, hey man, the attacks you have, I'm surprised he ain't got more vicious. God is working in him somehow, in my estimation, because some of the, I don't think I could withstand 10% of them.
And he's going to be a fighter. He's been a fighter since, day one. Mm-hmm. When he come down that escalator and they started, hurling all kinds of epithets at him. He's been, so I don't think that's going to change. That part's going to change. Mm-hmm. But I do think you're right, that you can see a change in him.
Can you think of a president in our history, just historically, because that, when they used to have, like, they sit with FDR and them would sit down when they had radios for TV. Can you think of a president that used to bring the nation together through religion? Can you think of any? FDR, we just sit there and talk to the people about God and country. It's something to think about. But maybe that's what the gentleman was wanting to hear more of, just someone that's say, let's all come together and unify and reflect on God and but with this way everything come out of this man's mouth that they twisted. I don't know how we way past some days where everybody sitting in front of the radio and looking at the presidency or the POTUS or the Oval Office as in a reverence type way.
Right.
We passed them days where it's just
have reverence for the office. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So, but again, I'm encouraged that this man is through this suffering. I know suffering that made me a better person, and some of the things he went through. Yes, he went bombastic, but what choice he got, on that
Mhm.
end. But at the same time, he seems to be a humble man too, in my eyesight.
I know that a lot of them out there can't see it. They won't see it,
Mhm.
especially if they're watching certain, news. They won't see that part of it because they'll never show it.
No,
But we can see it.
exactly. And it's clear because we are men of faith, and so we ain't got no reason to be trying to paint someone that we. If I thought someone was anti, at least by their action, was against the faith or godless, I would have no problem calling them out.
Right, yeah.
That's why I don't mind no problem calling Biden out. I've seen 47 years of that foolishness, and, and so.
Yeah. All right. Well, guess we'll call this one good. Again, thank all y'all out there for watching.
All right.